So the Fed's meeting again July 26th and 27th to discuss things like the 9.1% inflation rate that just came out in June. Our inflation rate is said to be the highest in 40 years dating back to 1981. Not only that, but inflation jumped from May to June 1.3% despite the Fed making major rate hikes. So since inflation is as high as 1981, I thought it'd be a great idea that we check out what happened to real estate in the 1980s. Before we jump into a great article that I found on the internet on aei.org, I wanted to tell you that I created my own chart. I'm going to show you that later on in this video on what's happening right now as we shift from a seller to a buyer's market. So in this chart that we're looking at, according to the National Association of Realtors, existing home sales had peaked to 4 million homes sold in 1978. Now, that was followed by a major landslide, a decline in home sales as mortgage rates climbed back then to 17, 18%, and it literally crushed buyers, and sales declined 50% to only 2 million homes sold in 1982. I thought, wow, with a dip in home sales of 50%, sellers must have been pretty upset. So let's take a deeper look. Just how long did it take for annual home sales to get back to the 4 million that we saw in 1978? As you can see in this chart, it took almost 17 years. So now you may be asking, what happened to home prices during that 17 years? As you can see on this chart, the median sales price of homes has done nothing but climb throughout history. There were a few periods of lower median home prices, but overall, the prices have continued to rise. And this was despite the crushing mortgage rates of 17 to 18%. Now wait, before you start thinking home prices are not going to come down, let's take a look at the chart a little closer. As home sale prices continued to fall to the bottom in 1982, in the fourth quarter of 1981, median home prices hit an all-time record high of $70,400. Now, despite home sales crashing rapidly, sellers were still in denial, and they just didn't want to face the fact that they needed to drop their price. It's kind of like it is right now, but just a few months later, by the end of first quarter 1982, median home prices had fallen 5.7% to $66,400. This drop in home prices signaled that if sellers needed to sell their home, they had to face the fact that they had to take lower priced offers. Now let's go back and take another look at the median home sales price chart one more time. As I had mentioned before, it took almost 17 years to get back to the 1978 rate of 4 million home sales in a year. But despite the lower sales during that 17-year period, home prices still continued to rise. Now, before you start asking, how can home prices continue to rise when less people can afford to buy? It's important to keep in mind that through history, home sale prices rise with inflation. Now, you also may ask, will home prices rise even above the high prices that we've recently seen? The short answer is absolutely yes. History has proven this. However, during recession periods, history has also shown us that we can experience decline in home sale prices as well. And with the out of control rate of inflation that we've seen in the last couple of years, I think it's fair to say we're about to see a big time recession. I also believe that with the jacked up home prices that we've seen over the last 2 years, that we're about to see some pretty substantial price reductions throughout the entire United States. So if you're in the market to buy a home, guys, I'd say get it while it's hot. I believe in the next 6 months or so, you're going to save big on your home purchase. So how long exactly will this last and when will we see the bottom? I wish I had the answer. But I believe, in my professional opinion, that if you're looking for a home, you can find deals right now. I think that we'll see certain markets crash harder than others, but I think across the board, we're going to see at least 10% price declines between now and I'd say by second quarter of 23. Of course, time will tell. One thing I can tell you is that we're seeing sellers realize that there has been a major pullback in buyer demand, and that if they must sell now, a major price reduction is at least what they're going to need to do to entice buyers to buy now. And sellers, if you need to move, be prepared to make some of those needed repairs to your home. Buyers are not waiving their home inspections, and if your home goes from under contract to back to active, be prepared to discount even further. And finally, I wanted to show you a chart that I created showing what happens with the rise and decline of home sale prices as we go from a seller's to a buyer's market. So this chart indicates throughout time moving from more of a seller's market to the peak and then becoming, as you see in the red, more of a declining price or a buyer's market. So when we are buying in a seller's market, we're offering more money as time goes on because the prices continue to heat up. Well, the exact opposite happens when we see a buyer's market. Prices are cooling and sellers are going to drop their price to try and beat the next price reduction so that they don't lose as much money if they just continue to hang on. So what you want to try and do when you're buying in this market, guys, is you want to try and advance a little bit and say, okay, what is the market going to bring in the next 6 months? Offer that price now. And sellers, I recommend you take it because who knows where we're going from here. All right, guys, thank you for your time. If you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up and to let me know that you do. And as always, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do so now. Hit that alert bell. It assures me you're going to receive our content every time we post. See you next time.
Sachs Realty, Maryland broker number 607720, office number 443-318-4514, equal housing opportunity.